How do you fall in love while helping light up other people's lives? Keep on watching to find out more about the Filipino-born solar lighting movement that's on a mission to light up homes around the world. Hi, I'm Trixie Esguerra, and this is Good News Pilipinas TV. Today, we have award-winning Filipino social innovator, the founder and executive director of Litter of Light, to tell us how we can use solar energy to change lives around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Illac Diaz.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Trixie. Hello from Dubai at the World Expo.
Wow. You are in Dubai. Congratulations. You keep on accomplishing so many things. Illac, Leader of Light, was an official observer at the Global Climate Change Conference held in Glasgow in last November. And way before that, you have been setting up worldwide your giant billboards of messages of hope. And on top of that, you also got married to your wife, Amy Valdemoro. How did
Well,
you manage to do all those things?
they say the best things comes in threes. So, after making this big project, in fact, it was three big wins. No, so we started out with the COP in Italy. So there's a pre-COP where we felt that 75% of the world does not speak English, and 75% of the world does not get their messages to climate leaders. So we started with SM Foundation, the largest Twitter in the world. Basically, we worked with the United Nations Climate Change to be able to look for messages of hope, messages for the planet from all over the world. We set up the Twitter account, and we received thousands of messages around the world. Now, what makes this different is because Litter of Light asked hundreds, almost thousands of young people to build solar lights from inside their home. So they can't gather, no, like the other ways, no, which was dangerous to the youth. So what we did was we made them participate by making the lights, but we would take their messages and take over, if you want to call it, some of the biggest plazas in the world. So in Milan, in Como, in the Lombardy area, we were given castles. We were given, very famous plazas to be able to write out 100-meter messages so that leaders could be able to see this. And we went to Glasgow, and we also did that with, in the school where, how do you call it? William and Kate got married. So the plaza, of the school, we made it there, and of course in Glasgow.
Wow.
So it ended up I also made the largest marriage proposal in the world, which I said, "Will you marry me?" Which was about, I think, 100 by 100 meters wide. So luckily she said yes, because pinaghirapan namin. So I used the messages of hope for the planet, but also hopefully she would be my wife after 8 years of relationship. So best thing comes.
Correct. Nagtataka lang ako, gaano karaming volunteers lahat yan? Kasi, alam mo, simultaneous, as ang lalaki eh.
So I have a Litter of Light Italy. Actually, I have 212 staff in 32 countries. During COVID, of course, some of them closed, and I had to keep it from 30 down to 2 just to survive.
Okay. Go ahead. Wow. So you have staff, and then you have volunteers. That's how we make this possible worldwide. Thank you.
And of course, we have corporate partners. No, I mean, right now, for the climate problems that we're having now in the central Philippines, we have, for example, IKEA. We have different companies building thousands of solar lights.
Correct. So that means if whoever is watching and who wants to partner with you, madali na, just go to Litter of Light and email Illac.
Yeah, so
Illac,
we don't produce the lights in any
yeah,
factories. We produce it on site, even in Kenya, South America,
mhm.
in Asia. It's
Yes, of
all done
course.
by hand.
Wow, amazing. Illac Litter of Light is building, as you said, no, artworks from solar lamps, which are donated to far-flung areas without electricity, including communities, no, that were destroyed by Typhoon Odette. So, what would you say is the main lesson that we should learn from recent events, like the super typhoon?
Well, we're crossing the 1.5 degrees right now. I think it's really one you would call a critical situation. So the problem is we also look at it in the Philippines as a knee-jerk reaction that after the storm, we would say that this is an act of God or once in 100 years.
Mhm.
But this is not true. It's a pattern of escalation. The heat that is going onto the Pacific and driving this engine for super typhoons. And I'm not just saying about the 20 typhoons, five of them destructive. It's five of them more destructive. So we're going to be having a pattern of these kinds of climate. We're going to be losing a lot of money, and the problem here is that we have not caused this kind of carbon emissions as a total. No, but we're the most ill prepared and most vulnerable in the world. In fact, to be hit by category fives is something that is unheard of, and the Philippines is starting to bear the brunt of it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, also because it's a pattern, less and less aid will be given to us over time, and more will come from the pockets of expats or OFWs around the world. Like
Oh,
here,
wow.
people are raising funds for their family back home. So it's coming really not from what you would call international aid and government aid. It's really coming from the private
Mhm.
sector, NGO. So it's really devastating to know that this
Okay.
pattern will go down. So we
So,
need to
so
prepare.
you are saying that it's all about preparation. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Now, because I know your story, but why solar energy of all things? What are your thoughts about it, and what can we do as ordinary citizens, to prevent climate change?
Well, first of all, is in schools we should already start shifting the narrative. The narrative is
Mm.
there is a Superman that will come and help us. We every environmental day we have Al Gore, Leonardo DiCaprio. We have what you call policymakers. What we need is already to start thinking for ourselves, to already start preparing for the storms. And so one of the things that we've been doing is coming up with catalogs. So I run this thing with my friend Ian Shumkov, that we work with the United Nations to make this design against the elements. Or every year we get thousands of architects to try to design how the most vulnerable would be able to rebuild with new
Mhm.
infrastructure that can be resilient to the storms. Remember, our schools were built in the 1960s, the design. And so these kind of schools get ripped apart. The problem there is these are the strongest structures in the provinces, so it fills up with people. When their village cannot anymore stand up to the storms, they fill up the schools with people seeking refuge, and they collapse. So you really need to
Yeah.
build schools better because these are places of last refuge. Second is really, I see schools being built the same way after they're destroyed and after they have this kind of human casualty. So there is a pattern of rebuilding. How many hollow blocks, how many metal bars, how many
Mhm.
roofing sheets. We have to change that kind of contractual rebuilding into something where people can be able to find refuge safely for these growing storms. We need to rebuild
So
our houses
preparation
in a
also.
different way. Our whole architecture needs to start readjusting to emergency architecture. So that's it. For Liter of Light, it was built basically in Tacloban, where it took me 5 months to get an order for just 7,000 solar lights. So I said, why not go to Cebu? There's solar toy manufacturers, buy everything, you buy batteries from vape batteries, and build the lights by hand. So it is something that, that it's invented. It's like Gawad Kalinga. And so we challenge thousands of people, corporates, and say, look, not only clothes, but we need more than food. We need light. There's a very high number of rape, theft, the young people getting burnt with kerosene lamps. Let's shift to solar lights and teach the people how to make it. And so within 2 months, we were able to make 7,000 lights by hand.
Wow, that's amazing.
One of the
Sorry, excuse me.
One of the big things people don't know is 60 to 80% of humanitarian funds are done in logistics or international logistics, or moving stuff from one place in the world to the other. So that's 60 to 80%. That's a very popular report. So I'm thinking, if we also generate our own funds, we have to be more self-reliant. And that's why we're shifting. Liter of Light wants to be the one of the biggest emergency solar lighting system in the world. Mobile chargers and street lights.
Okay, thank you. Illac, now I want to know, like in 3 sentences, what's next for Liter of Light?
Well, right now we're here at the World Expo, and so we're not very much known in the Philippines, but there's a private sector. The Sheikh has given a special pavilion called the Good Place, where 140 change makers can be able to exhibit their works permanently for the whole expo, separate from the Philippine Pavilion. And so we are making, with TBA Productions, the first climate, international climate change documentary, so that we will be able to exhibit it here at the World Expo and talk about our narrative, from the Philippines, from indigenous, from the people that are hit, and not an international talk about us just being victims, and the end point is just we're resilient. We need to be able to generate our own stories. The second one is we are expanding these messages of hope. So we are going to expand this in the UAE to be the largest in the world. I actually hold the world record here in the UAE for the largest solar artwork sustainable lesson in the world. And hopefully we can break it again by COP28. So it's very nice because we are showing Filipino leadership and Filipino stories here at the at the World Expo and the COP28. So those are my two big ones, to be able to make the first global Filipino climate change story.
Wow.
And to be able to...
And we're support you.
World.
We're supporting you all throughout. So Illac, maraming salamat sa iyong pagpapaunlak. And we will see you again. And we are one with you in this project.
So yeah, I'm married to the woman I love, and I'm married to the country I love, and hopefully I represent them well. Thank you, GNP, for covering your Philippine representative here at the World Expo.
Maraming salamat, Illac. Sa ating mga ka-good news, if you think that this episode is inspiring, press the heart button and share away. Abangan ang aming susunod na episode ng Filipino Pride Newsmaker. This is Trixie Esguerra for Good News Pilipinas TV.